a scientist. I'm just a caver, and so that's what we call it. Most of the time, if the caver's ever allowed to name anything, it's going to be food related. Soda straws, soda. Right here, we got some crispy cave bacon. Now, what happens with your cave bacon, you got these little straws, and they're growing on rocks that are sloping down. Instead of that water falling straight to the bottom like the dripper, it's going to flow along the slope of that rock. And then layer after layer will build until you got some bacon here. Now, scientists like to call this stuff drapery or curtains. You go caving 4 or 5 hours, and that's bacon. You'll be starving to death. It's like going swimming.
Mm-hmm.
You notice just down to the right there, we've got a hole. When we opened up our new way into the cave here, you got this steep ramp. We gave ourselves a new problem. Now every time it rains, all that rainwater is pouring down the ramp into the cave. And so by adding the concrete here and the grates, all that water is draining onto these grates down into that hole right there, and it keeps our cave from flooding. Or at least the main section here.
Do we know where that goes?
Yeah, so we've been down here. It's about a 6-hour journey to get to the back of the cave, but there is a lake in the very back. It's called Lake Mopegi. It's about 60 feet wide, 8 feet deep. But to get to the back of the cave and back is about a 12-hour round trip.
So you can actually go all the way in there.
Yeah, so that connects to the main chambers of the cave.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just what we would call like an overflow channel. It fills up to the ceiling pretty often. But definitely better. If you guys look just up to the left here, up at the top of the hill, you see where my finger shadow is kind of pointing at this hole, this opening. That is the original entrance. So that hole that I showed you with the ladder, if you were to crawl down into there, that's where you're coming out right there. And so any person who was in this cave prior to 2020, that was their path because that had not been opened up yet. So that wasn't done until 2020.
Can you show your leg?
2020.
It's about a 15-20 minute journey to get to the ladder from here. It's not just a straight shot. You're going through some windy passage. Some of it's hands and knees crawling, walking. It's a lot of fun. Lots of mud back there.
どうしたのお父さん。
あそこが前入り口だったんだって。
あそこが入り口なの？
そう、あそこが入り口だったんだよ。
入り口だったけど間違えたの？
I'm gonna have to get me some of them rain clothes, buddy. Those are awesome.
こっちに何があるの？
すごいね、なんか。
Well, listen, I don't know if we got any Star Wars fans down here, but we've got the Millennium Falcon right there. Now, there is something interesting about that rock. If you notice the thing that's hanging there, the falcon, it's different looking than the rock that it's hanging from. It's because we have two different kinds of rocks here. So the two most common that you'll see today, the falcon itself is a rock called chert, C-H-E-R-T. The rock it's hanging from, that's limestone. So you have limestone and you have chert. Now the way that the two of those are the same, they are both sediment rocks. They're both made of sediment. The way they're different is chert is a much, much harder rock. It's actually harder than steel. And so if I was a Cherokee and I lived here a long time ago and I needed a knife or an arrowhead or to start a fire, I'm going to go grab some chert off the ceiling. It'll do all three of those things. If you guys have ever heard of flint before, flint rock, flint is a type of chert. And so all flint is chert, but not all chert is flint. So that's what that is there. Now the reason it hangs from the ceiling, it's not growing like a stalactite. So it's not from the deposit of mineral, but think of a layer. So as you go up to the surface here, what you're going to find is a layer of limestone. On top of that is a layer of chert, and then limestone, and then more chert, all the way to the surface. massive river comes through, carving this cave out. Because chert is a harder rock, it takes a lot longer to erode away. And so as all the limestone disappears around it, it will over time expose these layers, and now they hang off the ceiling like the falcon. And like I said, it's a sediment rock. But that sediment is called silica. It's this microscopic organisms like plankton fossils from the ocean. And so you got plankton, and then right here above my head, I'm going to show you. See these little stick-looking things there? Those are sea urchin spines.
What?
And so you have plankton, you got sea urchin. In the gift shop, I can show you my shark's tooth that I pulled out of here a few months ago. And so we have this ocean theme that is occurring down in our cave here. You know those spiky balls that live in the ocean? That's what that is right there.
It is a spiky ball.
The black spiky things that are in the ocean, that's a sea urchin. That's what that is. Those are the fossilized spines of a sea urchin. Yeah. All right.
何だのお父さん。
こうなんか海の中にいるこういう黒いなんかスパイキーボール。
Head on that way just a little bit. Watch out for that pothole. Now in Tennessee.
お父さんこっちだよ。どこに向かってんだ。どこに向かってんだ一体。うん。寒くない。涼しいね。開くって。
Well, listen, I don't know if y'all noticed, we're walking along here, there's been some cracks along the ceiling, man. Check this one out above my head. This is pretty fine. Now, sometimes I'll mess with people and tell them this crack wasn't real last week. Just to get people fired up. A great example of what happens here, though, and why caves exist. When you look at limestone, all you're really doing is looking at the bottom of the ocean. So at one time, around 350 million years ago, Tennessee looked like the Caribbean. A very calm and shallow sea, about 800 feet of water above our heads. Every living thing that was in that water at the time, it died, and it fell to the bottom of the seafloor. And then over millions of years, all of those dead things just continued to pile up and pile up and pile up. And eventually it piled up for so long, it was so heavy that it started to crush under its own weight. All of that stuff, the dead stuff, it packs together, forms together, and it creates limestone. So it's a sediment rock, but the sediment is made up of nothing but fossils of ocean life. Mostly things like corals and seashells. I can show you a few more here if you want to see them. So this guy right here, that's what we call a crinoid, which is an ancient sea creature that was here a long time ago. Very closely related to a sand dollar. A lot of people call them sea lilies.
Which one were you pointing at?
This one right here.
It's like a slug kind of.
Yeah, so the best way I can describe what they used to look like is if you've ever seen a really long stalk of bamboo. They're 80 feet long they could get up to. But that's what these things look like. But then this one right here, see these little striations in that? That's a seashell. But everywhere you look, you're just going to notice little bits and pieces and fragments of stuff because all this is crushed up ocean fossil. Then you notice as well that the rock is very wet. And that's because limestone is porous, like a sponge. It's got holes in it, and it soaks up water. And so every time it rains, rain will come down, mix with dead plants on the surface. Water becomes very acidic. It's called carbonic acid. That comes in and eats away the limestone. So this is very much an oversimplification, but if you want a cave, you only need 3 things, and that's water, limestone, time. Just a lot of time. But that's it. You got a cave. Or a little dynamite. I knew nothing about the science that went behind digging a hole like that. Because when we opened this thing up, they're like talking about bringing all these machines in and all this. I'm like, what happens just throwing some dynamite in there and like plugging our ears, you know? And they're like, you can't do that. I didn't
wouldn't be any caves left.
Plus, we are in the South. We tend to get carried away with the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So this actually, before we move on any further, this is a great spot for a photo. If anybody wants a picture, I'm happy to take a picture for you. It's a good picture. All right, I know this sounds vague, but just go stand by that rock over there. I love it. Here we go. 1, 2. Y'all looking at Bigfoot. Thanks, man.
Okay. You want
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Gotcha.
Thank you.